Welcome. Today we're going to talk about moving to the Tacoma area, which is a large city south of Seattle, and what that's like down there living in Tacoma, whether you're relocating or coming from another area in greater Seattle. And I have a couple of clients that I've been working with down there in Lakewood, Gig Harbor, Federal Way. So I'm going to share some video clips and footage of what it's like out on the streets and just give you a little bit of an idea of the lifestyle when it comes to living in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm real estate agent Emily Cressey here in the Seattle-Tacoma area, and I love helping people who are moving to the area find the right neighborhood for them, find a place that's really going to be a good fit long-term for the types of things that they're looking to do and accomplish once they move here. Now, today the focus of our video is Tacoma, Washington, so I'm going to start, as always, by introducing you to that area on the map. So here's the state of Washington, and as you zoom in with me here, you can see that Tacoma is coming into view as one of the larger cities just south of Seattle. The greater Seattle area, Seattle-Bellevue area, is the largest metro in the state of Washington, and Bellevue happens to be where we have our most expensive real estate, high demand area right here by Redmond, Microsoft, a lot of the big tech companies. And what we've been finding over the last couple of years is that this area has gotten so expensive with between the low interest rates, the cost of living going up, and all the big tech money coming in, that in order to find affordability, more and more people have been choosing to live south toward Tacoma. Another alternative to this would be living north toward Marysville or Arlington. Now, if you're trying to commute into downtown Seattle, it's a pretty long drive. I would say it takes about an hour with minimal traffic. But that's for me to get there from my house, which is up here near Shoreline at the top of the lake. To go from downtown Seattle to downtown Tacoma without traffic is about half an hour. So it's not that bad, but it's still a bit of a trek when we add in things like rush hour traffic or the base getting out. Then we need to take a different look. Down here is a Joint Lewis McChord base, which is an Army Air Force base. And so they have shifts where they have to be there at certain times and then leave at certain times. And so that flow of traffic can certainly slow you down if you get caught on I-5 at the wrong moment. You can see here that Tacoma is kind of this red outline area, and I-5 is our primary freeway that comes south through Federal Way. Then we cross the county line here. So Seattle is in King County and Tacoma is in Pierce County. And we get into some of these more rural and outlying areas. Puyallup. One of my clients told me I needed to have a pronunciation guide for some of these like Native American names that they just are not obvious for people from far away. You know, Tukwila, Burien, SeaTac is our airport, which is a combination of Seattle and Tacoma. And so just, I guess those are a little bit more easy, but Puyallup usually throws people for a loop. Stillicum out here. Anyway, Tacoma is definitely a big city. It has a big downtown with skyscrapers and all that. So Tacoma has a good downtown with big tall buildings and skyscrapers. Historically, it also had a wood paper mill, and it really stank. It smelled bad. It's been decommissioned, but it was called the aroma of Tacoma, at least by my family. And whenever we would drive to visit friends in Tacoma, it was just like, you know, we kids in the back were, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. It was really foul. If you read about that, the good news is it's no longer there. So you can breathe easy when you come here. You're going to see these canals. These are pretty much industrial ports. So we have big ships coming in. This is open ocean here. Puget Sound leads out to the Pacific Ocean. So we have ships coming in from Alaska, from China, and unloading here. There are train tracks and things. So this is somewhat industrial here. And then we have the downtown. And then up here north of downtown, we have Ruston, Proctor, which are some of the neighborhoods that you might want to be looking at which are especially nice, expensive. You have these views of the water and everything. As you get down into Tacoma proper, it's pretty spotty. So some areas could be a good area, but still have bad problematic houses and people and crime and those types of things. So Tacoma, even my brother-in-law who grew up in Tacoma said that he didn't realize Cops was not just a local neighborhood show, but actually Cops featuring his hometown of Lakewood was a show that was enjoyed all across the nation because it was pretty bad there for a while. They are cleaning things up, but it's a slow process. So we have to use caution when looking at neighborhoods in Tacoma. And really, it's a case-by-case basis to drive out there, look at the couple of blocks surrounding, and just see what's going on in the neighborhood, see if we feel safe there. Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium is definitely expensive, but it's a nice destination for a field trip or get a membership and hang out there, go take your baby in the stroller for walks and do that type of thing. Over here at Dash Point and Dash Point State Park, you can walk around in the woods, and there's also some sand flats, I would say, where they have shellfish, where you can actually go and dig for clams and things like that in season. So there are some really nice outdoor activities here. A lot of the industry in this area was previously wood and forestry related. So you'll see Weyerhaeuser as one of the big companies that was donating money to the area and financing different things. They'll have buildings, and they would buy a lot of land, they would log it, they would replant it. In some of the areas, they have stopped logging there and have sold off homestead sites, which would be maybe an acre or 5 acres if you wanted to live in a more rural kind of mountain cabin type of location, and still have access to utilities and logging roads and some of the infrastructure that they had put in there. And now as you zoom out, you'll see that Mount Rainier National Park is here. This is a really famous mountain. It's got great views from Seattle and even better views from Tacoma of Mount Rainier, and you're really almost in the foothills of it here. So this is a great place if you want to go hiking. But it's a serious mountain. It has snow year round. I've had friends that were killed there hiking, so you do need to be careful and know what you're doing, or else stick to the paved trails and do what the guide tells you. And down here, you'll see on the map, Joint Base Lewis McChord. So of course, look how much land they have. They run along the freeway here, so this is subject to traffic. And then you will have airplanes and things flying over and coming out of there. Oh, I also wanted to add that we have a lot of Indian casinos in this area. So I saw something about a Nisqually casino. So that's great. They actually have some really nice live music and different events and attractions. So as far as nightlife and food, and they actually offer and do bring a lot to the area. Obviously, gambling addiction can ruin lives, so use caution. But there are nice things to do here. There's also the Tacoma Dome, which is a large indoor dome stadium, essentially. So they could have sports there, or they could have and tend to have really large concerts like Beyonce or Madonna or that type of thing is the scale of concert that could be taking place in the Tacoma Dome. So they do really attract crowds here. Lakewood is one of the neighborhoods that you might want to take a look at here, all these little lakes. And I actually have a listing right now. I'll show you some footage while we're talking about it on one of these little lakes. And it's beautiful, tranquil. You can go out on here and paddle your boat. They stock it for fishing. And then you're next door to some of these parks. There's Steilacoom National Forest, or Fort Steilacoom Park right here. And so you can go walk your dog, go jogging. They have rhododendron parks. They have bonsai parks. So one of the big features of Tacoma is that they do have a lot of really nice outdoor opportunities for you to get down to the water or spend time outside. Here's Chambers Bay Golf Course, which is beautiful, right kind of on the sound here. So right here, Tacoma is very urban. But as you get out into the outlying areas, it becomes rural pretty quickly. Bonnie Lake is one of the larger lakes in this area, and it's very popular for houses. You can see due to the unusual shape, it has a lot of shoreline. So people do have summer homes there, and the water level does change throughout the year. So sometimes it can go dry, which is not as attractive, but just know that that's there, and you'll see a lot of listings featuring proximity to Bonnie Lake. It is a great attraction in the summer in particular, as well as Puyallup, which I mentioned before, where our county fair is. So they're going to have rodeos and carnival games and 4-H and cattle judging. And so if you are interested in anything that's agricultural or rural, you have a lot of options here on the outskirts of the Tacoma area. Now, if you have one spouse who's commuting into Seattle and one working in Tacoma, you're in great shape. You also have the option to get down here and commute to Olympia, which is the state capital. So if you are involved in any kind of government jobs that would require interaction with the capital, you're only about a half an hour away in this direction. So Tacoma is great in giving you access to 3 large major metros. Over here, you're going to islands. You can have a boat. You can have a second home. You can have like a mobile home park or something like that. But it tends to be a lot more rural in this area. Shelton used to be a logging town. So just kind of small town, woodsy type of stuff, as well as nice waterfront property going on in these areas over here. Major employers in the area do include the Air Force Base, do include all of the, city types of things, law firms, accounting firms that you would expect in a big city. There's also a hospital there, and SeaTac Airport. It was our large international airport. So they've got, luggage handling, air traffic control, pilots, all of the customer service that goes into a large airport like that. So my sister at one point was wanting to get started investing in real estate herself, and she was looking in Tacoma at some different properties. And I said her husband grew up in the area, and it tends to be more affordable than Seattle. And one of the places that she was looking at was Old Town, which is right here. And this is really beautiful. It has a kind of small town, beachy feel, and you're right there on the water with some beautiful homes. So this is a very nice, fun neighborhood. So Proctor officially is sort of this downtown area here, and it has kind of that small town, little shops and stores, walkable, very cute and nice as well. Definitely like a Proctor address or North Proctor is kind of a destination location here in the Tacoma area, as well as Ruston over at the top. Annie Wright is a private school, which is one of the high-end private schools where a lawyer friend sent their son to go to school and that type of a thing. It's right here by the Lawn Tennis Club, right? So it's just, this whole area is kind of upscale, wealthy. These are where $1 million plus houses might be located, although not every house here is that expensive. The other really big, kind of well-known, at least to me, private school in this area is Bellarmine Preparatory Academy, and that's down here closer to Highway 16 by Snake Lake. So this is kind of lifestyles of the rich and famous for Tacoma. And, I'm sure they all like to tease each other, but this is a great school. If you're looking at private schools and you're wondering, what's the grade, this is a really good one to take a look at here. I think I mentioned also showing you the hospitals. So these red pins are indicating locations of different hospitals in Tacoma. Obviously, there are a lot of hospitals, so that's great. But this one over here is again, a nice area. This is near Old Town and where my sister was looking for her rentals, and it's got this park and it's just, by the water and everything like that. So excellent. Just so you know, here's the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. This actually is a toll bridge. So you only get charged in one direction. You can go one way for free, and then you get hit with the toll on the way back. You can use one of those fast passes that sort of Velcros to the inside of your windshield if you're going over here a lot. That's the best way to go fast. You don't have to stop It just scans you and charges you, and I believe it charges you a reduced rate. It's cheaper to get scanned than it is to stop and pay cash or to have them scan your license plate. So those are some different options for you, but just know if you're going back and forth over here to Gig Harbor or something all the time, then that could add up. That's a cost. Okay, so now let's talk about the cost of housing here in the Tacoma area. And I think if you've been looking at houses in Seattle, you'll be pleasantly surprised by what you find in contrast here in Pierce County, Washington. So what we have right now is a graph, a chart of the housing prices developed by the multiple listing service. So this is something that only real estate brokers like me have access to. And it really allows me to zoom in on the trends of the neighborhoods that you're most interested in. I'm keeping it pretty general now at a big picture level so that you can get the idea. But again, as you're starting to look for housing, there are really three things you can control. There's the price range that you're shopping in, there's the neighborhood that you're shopping in, and there's the type and quality of home that you're getting. Is it a condo? Is it a brand new construction? Is it an older home? Like what type of property are we looking at? Those are kind of your three variables, and you can adjust them accordingly to find something that's a good match for you. So I want you to understand where we are in the price spectrum so that you can kind of get an idea of whether you're going to be getting something that's pegging the luxury end of the market or just entering affordability. So over here on the side, you can see which color corresponds to which city. For example, purple is Tacoma, and Tacoma proper is at the low end of the spectrum, where the median price home is currently about 470,000. Ruston, which I was showing you, was kind of up north near the Point Defiance Zoo along the water, is getting closer to 690,000. So that's kind of the spectrum of average. What's an average home going to look like in these different areas? Now, if this seems too expensive, you can either go to a smaller home or you can take a look at a condominium. So for example, let's look at Tacoma, and we'll look at a 2-bedroom condominium here. And we would expect in that case to see a median price point of 400,000. So in Federal Way, it might be 320, in Lakewood 275. So if we need to get more affordable, that's about the starting point. The entry-level home, the 2-bedroom condo would work well for a lot of people who have maybe a family of 4 or so, if needed. It could fit in there. And bear in mind that in addition to buying the home, you will have your homeowners association dues there as well, which you should budget between $300 and $500 a month in this price range that you're going to be paying for those dues. But remember, some of that is going to go toward utilities and landscaping, which are costs that you're not going to have like you would if you were in a home. And also you're saving up for things like a roof that you would also need to pay for in a home, but you would just budget separately. With the homeowners association, it's typically a forced budgeting scenario. I have other videos where I get more in depth on what you need to look for if you're shopping in a condo. But the homeowners association, especially in inexpensive condos, is a primary point of due diligence. So if you're looking in that direction, make sure that we have a chance to talk about it so that you know what to look out for and what to be cautious of, so you don't get burned by a huge special assessment. That's that's the last thing we want. So contrast this. Remember, we're looking at condos here. For Ruston, there are no condominiums here. This is not a high-rise area. This is more of a historical homes area, older properties. So you're going to find many more old homes and much less new construction and condominium. Again, taking away the blending and looking at just residential properties, let's say 3 bedrooms or more. In these areas, Tacoma, we're going to see an average of 500,000, Lakewood 527, Federal Way 650, and Ruston, the luxury Tacoma market, is the median price home there is 700,000. And if we're looking for new construction, just because I know a lot of people do like those beautiful new homes that you see pictured online, and sometimes they come with great financing options. No new construction in Ruston, mostly remodels there. If you want something new and fresh, you can find it. I actually just showed and made an offer on. We didn't get it. We didn't want to go high enough, but a 3,000 square foot completely remodeled house in kind of that Proctor Ruston area went for just over $1 million. The realtor didn't tell me how much. It was priced at $975, and he said it went for just over $1 million. So I'd imagine be plus 10,000 or 20,000, over $1 million. Beautiful. It was multi-generational with kind of a mother-in-law suite in the bottom and lots of nice use of space in the attic and the basement to build that out to 3,000 square feet of usable space. It was very well done. So anyway, prices can always go up, right? Especially if you're having water views or huge square footage or new construction or newly remodeled homes. But that being said, what we're seeing here is that there is no new construction in Ruston, but in Federal Way, you could get a new home, a new house with 3 or more bedrooms for a median price of $800,000, and in Tacoma that would cost you $612,000. And I'd love to show a home development that I went to in Lakewood. Actually, I was looking at sales nearby my listing down there, and I toured a beautiful new construction community with about 20 homes in it. You can take a look at the video. It was very nicely done. So this has been a great overview of Tacoma and some of the surrounding neighborhoods. We didn't talk a lot about Federal Way, so I'll mention that briefly. Federal Way is in King County. It's just on the county line, and a lot of online reviews of it kind of describe it as a commuter city. So I think that's a great depiction. It's actually having the light rail come right through there. It's being built now as we speak in 2024, so a couple more years, and I expect that will be online and accessible. It's not the fastest way to get into Seattle because it stops, but you can sit there and read rather than fighting traffic, so it may prove to be very convenient. We're just about to open our north branch up into out of Seattle going north as far as Linwood. So that'll be very interesting to see how that goes for the north end of the lake. One of the big concerns in my mind is not just the slow pace of the train, but also parking. So if you want to ride the train, you drive your car there and park in the garage, which is free, and then you get on the train. Each parking garage up here is going to have 500 parking spots. So the question is, will that be enough to absorb the commuter demand? And, you know, the situation that we're in now is if you don't get up early enough and get to the train station in time, you don't have a place to park when you get there. So they're opening more stops, which will bring more people onto the train, but hopefully create more parking as well. So stay tuned. I don't necessarily feel that the light rail is the panacea to solve all of our problems. I will give you informed information about how things are looking on the train and whether it's a viable and strong commuting option. So yeah, Federal Way, just kind of people that live there because it's more affordable, and then they're typically driving into Seattle. If they wanted to drive into Tacoma, Tacoma's generally more affordable all over, so they could probably live closer to wherever they were working. But again, if you have spouses going in both directions, Federal Way is a great option. One of the main questions or complaints about Federal Way is just around entertainment, and there's not much to do. But again, if you're within a half an hour or less of a big city, then you should probably plan if you want to go to the orchestra or the opera or a play or a musical, you could do that, but you just need to go into the downtown areas of Tacoma or Seattle to experience those, you know, more expensive fine arts or professional sports activities. In the case of Seattle, where we have, you know, the Mariners and the Seahawks and the Kraken hockey team and the Sounders football soccer team, all that good stuff. So there's plenty to do in general. It just may not be in Federal Way in particular. Anyway, that being said, that's been a great overview. We talked a little bit about all the various locations. We talked a little bit about pricing, and I want you to feel comfortable to call me when you're ready to talk about your move here. We can get you equipped with a lot of different resources that we have. Talk about, you know, what does it take to find a home? What neighborhoods are going to be a good fit for you? What is the market doing right now? You know, whenever you call, it may have changed, and making sure that you feel really comfortable, whether you're coming down to kind of do a bunch of tours on the weekend, you want to put something under contract and come visit it, or if you're just going to completely buy sight unseen, I have people doing all of those things. So whatever it is okay, and we have processes to help you feel more comfortable with that. I'm Emily Cressey. I'm here to help. My website is homeproassociates.com. I hope you'll come visit and check out all of the resources. We have a lot of PDFs and different things to help you when you come over there. So make sure you come visit us there. You can call me when you're ready. And until then, I will see you on the next video. Talk to you soon.